right? Let's come back to the third class liver, right? Right. So as you can see here, physically, we allocate the third class liver into, initially we start with the load. I mean, basically second class is going to be interchanged with each other. But we leave the fulcrum as it is, and we are just changing the places of effort into the place of load, and load into the place of effort. So you can see the connections between these two, right? So as an example, in the physical world, for the second class we can see a wheelbarrow, right? And the third class, load is getting placed at first, and secondly we are having effort, and the fulcrum is at the corner. Similarly, in our human body we can apply the same concept in while folding your arm, right? Folding your arm, right? So effort is initially is at this place, and the fulcrum is over there, and the load is going to be here, right? So load, effort, and fulcrum, right? So fulcrum is at a corner, and the load here, and in between fulcrum and load we are having effort, right? So that's how all three lever classes are being applied on the concepts of human mechanisms. So in the real world we can consider as while digging a hole or while using a shovel, right? So we can use this as a third class lever, right? And then, as a continuity of our presentation, let's think about the role of muscles in movement. So how the muscles are providing you a major role, how the muscles are providing you a huge impact on generating a movement along with the skeletal structure, right? So as I have already mentioned you, skeletal is providing the surface where the muscles are situated on the surface of the skeletal. So these both are joined together in order to provide you multiple functions such as movements, protection, and all, right? So once you think about from the perspective of the movements, right? So we do not move, we do not generate force, or we do not simply move with the help of a skeletal structure, but muscles must be there in order to make some make some forces, so they have to create some forces in order to generate the movements, right? So muscles must be there in order to make the forces. That's a very important concept over here. So how the muscles are getting the forces, how the muscles are getting generated the forces, is that type of theory what we have seen in our earlier slide, right? Sliding filamentary theory. So once you look into this video where the links will be provided, you can get the exact idea how the things are being generated using these theories, sliding filament theory, right? Right. Now coming back to this, the role of muscles in the movement is type of muscles, contractions, right? So isometric and isotonic, concentric and eccentric. So that's what you call in the medical terms. So once you look into this image, you can clearly understand, right? So examples of movements, what are the examples we have for the movement is flexion, extension, abduction, adduction. You can see here, right? So I have again attached these two links which are very important to you. I thought while during these lectures I can play these in this video, but since I have a huge connection issue, let me try it again. Because I think we got the connections back. Yep, luckily we got it back. Let's watch the video. Oops.
We find a happy place where love takes over.
The action of a single muscle can be described pretty simply. A muscle is connected to two or more bones by tendons. As the muscle contracts or shortens, it pulls on the tendons which move the bone in relation to one another. In reality, movement is much more complex. Several muscles work together in unison to create a desired movement. They each have different roles in different movements. Let's look at a common exercise, the bench press, and identify the roles of different muscles involved. The primary muscle providing the force behind the movement is known as the agonist. During a bench press, the agonist is the pectoralis major. If you look at where the pectoralis major attaches to bones, its origin and insertion, and the direction of its fibers, you get some idea as to what its function will be. As it contracts, it pulls the arm toward the center of the chest, flexing, adducting, and internally rotating the humerus. This is the main movement behind a bench press. But the pectoralis major has help from other muscles. Synergy is when two or more things work together to accomplish something greater than what they could do alone. The muscles that don't provide the primary force behind the movement but assist the agonist are known as the synergists. One of the synergists in the bench press is the triceps brachii. Once again, when we look at the origin and insertion of the muscle, we can get a pretty good idea of its function. The triceps extends the elbow. Another synergist, the anterior head of the deltoid muscle, helps to flex and internally rotate the shoulder. Stabilizing muscles help to prevent unwanted motion at a joint. During a bench press, the pectoralis major, the anterior deltoid, and the triceps work together to pull the humerus toward the chest and straighten the arm. A group of muscles known collectively as the rotator cuff surround the head of the humerus and help to pull it into the socket, stabilizing the shoulder joint during the forceful movement of the arms and chest during the bench press. While these stabilizing muscles may not contribute much to the force lifting the barbell, they play an important role in movement by preventing the humeral head from slipping out of its socket. Muscles that would create a movement opposite that of our desired movement are known as antagonists. If our agonist pulls the arms toward the chest, our antagonists pull the arm toward the back. Our antagonists while performing a bench press include the latissimus dorsi and the posterior head of the deltoid. The antagonists allow themselves to relax and stretch in length to accommodate the opposing contraction. This is called reciprocal inhibition. It may be tempting to draw the conclusion that the agonists are active while the barbell is being pushed up, and the antagonists are active while the barbell is coming down. This is not the case, however. The agonist and its synergists continue to work to slow the descent of the barbell. If the agonists were to relax and the antagonists to contract during a bench press, there would be no force slowing the barbell, and the combined force of gravity and the antagonists would pull the barbell rapidly and violently into the chest. While the agonist and synergists are creating enough force to overcome the weight of the barbell, they shorten and push the weight up. This is known as a concentric contraction. As the agonists and synergists relax enough to allow the weight to come down, they lengthen but are still working to prevent the weight from falling too quickly. This is known as an eccentric contraction.
So I believe you watched this video and you learned the terms whatever we have used in the slides, right? So I suggest you to click this link again, which where we will be sharing all the links whatever we have attached in the video itself in the description. So please have a look, which will be an extra material for you, so that you can understand these concepts clearly about types of muscles and its relevant movements, right? So you can see here in this image there are a bunch of different types of movements. We are doing rotations at this place, protraction and retractions. We can do it through our chin, pronation, supination, everything we can do here using our wrist region, and eversion and inversion we can do using our toe, and extension, abduction and adduction we can do using our shoulder blade, and we can use it, obviously we can use it our upper limbs, right? Elevation, depression and circumduction, everything. There are a bunch of types of different types of motions. How we are doing this? We are just using the different muscles. We are just utilizing the different patterns of these muscles in order to make these different types of movements, obviously, right? So I suggest you to watch all the video links whatever we are attaching in the description for you to have an extra knowledge about this, right? Muscle fatigue recovery, right? So you know, whenever our muscles, right, so we are not machines, we are unable to do the works continuously, obviously, you know, we have some point where we feel tired, where our muscles get tired, right? And afterwards, apart from that moment, we are unable to continue our work. We have to take a rest. We have to provide a small boost for our muscles in order to continue or pursue our work, right? So this image clearly indicates how the muscles are getting fatigued, how the muscles are getting tired over the period of time, right? So in youngsters we get the fatigue after a very long time, but over the period of time the elders, they can get the tiredness of the muscles. They feel the tiredness of the muscles very soon, right? So they feel it very quicker than the youngsters, right? So what are the reasons, right? So this image clearly indicates how the things are going on inside the muscles and all in order to get the fatigues, right? So causes of muscle fatigue is very important. We have to study it very clearly, where the things are all the anatomical and important things about the muscle fatigueness are included in the video itself, right? So we are very sorry because our earlier plan was just playing around the view all the videos in this slide itself, but on the day whenever we are recording this session for you, we have some issues because it's raining over there and we have a very huge problematic connection, right? So I'm very sorry. We will be avoiding these situations, and we will be recording all the sessions during the initial recordings of the video itself, right? So that you can watch entire thing at once. You don't need to go here and there. You don't need to check the descriptions in order to go for the extra materials. All types of materials will be played on the video itself in our future videos, right? So please excuse us for this one. Right, so let's coming back to that, right? So we suggest you to go through the link in order to get about the muscle fatigueness, how the things are happening, right? But in biomechanics we do not have a very vast knowledge about the biofatigueness, right? So because it doesn't matter for the biomechanics perspective, but you need to understand there are muscles getting fatigueness and they are getting tiredness, and why and how the things can be avoided. What are the things we need to do in order to restore our muscles, or in order to upgrade our muscles, right? So what are the recovery strategies? We have to do a rest, or we have to provide the nutrition, we have to do the hydration parts and all, right? So please watch the video in order to get an overall idea about this, right? So it is not super important, but you need to get it done if you really have an interest, or if you just need to make sure that you have the fulfilled knowledge. Right, and after that we would like to, because we are getting we are almost done with these skeletal and muscle systems, because we are just doing it for the sake of our biomechanics special course, right? It is not an anatomical structure detailed class, as I have mentioned earlier. That's why we are just touching the parts here and there in order to give you the introductions about the systems and some common features about the systems, right? So skeletal disorders and muscle disorders, we have some problems, we have some diseases. What are they? Osteoporosis, fractures, scoliosis, right? So these are some kind of the disorders relative to the skeletal system. And muscular system, we have muscular dystrophy, tendinitis, right? So you can watch about these things. Again, we have provided you with a useful link, because wherever we are providing you the link is kind of the slide where you don't need to provide much attention, or where you don't need to super urgent or super important, but having that knowledge is very important for you to build up your core concepts, right? Right, now coming back to the biomechanics and the posture movements, since our posture is decided by the skeletal structure and the muscular structure, we need to make sure that we utilize them, we use them in a proper way in order to prolong the usage of it, or in order to make sure that we are using the systems in a correct way to make the advantages out of it, right? So we need to make sure that we know the importance of proper posture, as I have said, right? We need to utilize the longevity, or we need to utilize the advantages, and we need to make sure that our systems are being used for a very long time, right? So that's why we need to use the proper postures in order to avoid future disorders or discomforts at our body, in our body. Impact of muscle imbalances and joint mechanisms on movements, right? So our poor posture may happen due to our laziness, or our because of our physical activity, since we are not doing it correctly, or maybe it's from the birth, it's kind of a congenital disorder or some kind of things, right? So that's what we need to understand it, what type of posture we are in, right? We need to make sure we always try our best in order to make or keep a good posture, in order to avoid the future discomforts, right? Otherwise, in the other hand, some people are unable to keep a good posture due to their birth defects, but it's not a different case. We have physiotherapy for those kind of situations, but in a healthy adult, we need to make sure that we have a good posture, we need to keep a good posture, and we are working out for a good posture, right? I think that will be enough to understand about the skeletal system, along with the muscular system and the different types of skeletons and the muscles, right? And also we jotted down about some disorders related to that, and about some posture importance, right? So we are having several other slides, several other important talks we have discussed under the concepts of biomechanics. Please watch them in the channel if you really missed, right? So please make sure that you are taking part in the sessions, or if you missed, you can watch the sessions in the channel as well. Make sure that you are getting an overall idea, an overall knowledge about this biomechanics special course, right? Because if you are missing something, right, make sure that you let us know that you are missing something, so that we can help you out in order to fulfill the gap. Also, whenever we are attaching some, and a special note, whenever we are attaching some links, that means it is very important, or it is an added advantage if you know that stuff, right? So make sure that you watch them too. Okay, then we will be sharing another concept soon with another video. We believe that you learn a lot from this video, and keep learning with us, right? Stay tuned with us. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.